Salt Lake City. Hey, Jake, how are you? Salt Lake Jake. Salt Lake Jake.
Salt Lake Jake.
Salt Lake Jake.
Welcome to Salt Lake Jake's Take. I am Salt Lake Jake. I'm here with my guys, Peter and Brennan. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Jake?
Hey, guys. How are
And
you?
just so we know, as we talk right out the gate, for those who are tuning in for the first time, we are not insiders. We are not journalists. We are not X's and O's guys. All we are dudes that love football, and we're going to chat about football just like you would with your bros at the office or, you know, friends on the phone, whatever the case is. That's how this goes. So that's the format of this podcast. And today we have a special guest joining us, the Georgia Assassin, a member of the 2016 or 2015 Sweet 16 Utes, none other than number 41, Big Jeremy Olsen. What's up, Jo?
Yeah.
Nothing much.
That team was
happy
loaded.
To be on here, yeah.
Yeah, that team was loaded. We had our superstar in Olsen, and then we had, after him, we had Pirtle, the next tier, DeLon Wright on that same tier, but it all revolved around Jeremy Olsen in the post, man. That's how we took down Georgetown to get to the Sweet 16.
Oh man,
Dude.
you're remembering it differently than I do.
Kuzma was on that roster too, wasn't he?
He was, but he was like a fifth ring. It'd go Jo.
Pushed him around.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it was. Yeah, that was back before Kuz like really blossomed into the player he was. But yeah, we were a loaded squad. It was good times.
Yep, we are grateful to have Jeremy. Jeremy Doubles is not only a former Ute basketball player, but a diehard Ute fan as well. And you don't get both of those in the combination very often. So, Jeremy, let's talk, brother. You, during this entire process of the Pac-12 crumbling and falling apart, you were on the forefront of saying, let's go to the Big 12. Jeremy's a Big 12 fan. So, Jeremy, tell our listeners why you were so excited about this Big 12 move.
Yeah, I guess first I want to say like I'm not anti-Pac-12 by any means. Like I was an athlete in the Pac-12, played in the Pac-12. I loved it. I mean, I'm gonna miss everything that it had. Like I think all fans will. But I don't know. As soon as the LA schools left, man, it was just so different, and the stability. It felt like there was no stability. I hated the idea of just like waiting around for Oregon and Washington to leave. I didn't like being basically having to wait. Basically, our future having to wait until they make a decision. I was like, oh, what? If they're going to leave us eventually, why not we just go join the Big 12? And just get out of there rather than
Proactive.
potentially be proactive, not wait around for what those two are going to do. Which you never know what was going to happen. That was my biggest thing was about it. And then as well, like I'm excited about the Big 12's fan bases. There's passionate fans in the Pac-12. Yeah, there's a few fan bases that are really good, but I don't know if Stanford and Cal I don't even know if their fans still might not even know what's going on. They probably don't even know we left.
They think they're still part of the Pac-10. They don't even remember Utah being added to it.
Yeah,
I will tell you where we upgraded is in the food department. I mean, if you look at destination food places, there's a lot more in the Big 12 than there were in the Pac-12. Am I wrong?
If you're talking barbecue, man,
like
there's a plethora of barbecue joints that are going to be on top of people's lists all through Texas, Kansas, Missouri, all that. I agree 100%. But Jo brings up a great point. The Pac-12 was so apathetic fan base-wise. You look at really only three teams, Utah, Oregon, and Washington, that were passionate fan bases that filled the stadium. Even USC last year, they're in the top 10 most of the year, still had like 60% capacity. It's terrible. So top to bottom, fan base wise, the Big 12 destroys the Pac-12 as far as like passion goes. Little towns like Lubbock, Texas, they pack their stadium. Manhattan, Kansas, they pack their stadium. Even UCF, who I'm not a huge fan of them being in the league, they've got a good fan base. So fan base wise, it's definitely an upgrade going to the Big 12.
I'll add as well. I think that I don't think Stanford, like as long as Stanford and Cal were around, I can't imagine that the Pac-12 ever had like what it took to like really expand and survive in this era. Like I think there'd be so many like hurdles to get through with like some of the schools, and trying to understand it has to be about athletics and like we might have to associate with like teams that Stanford and Cal don't want to associate with, which I don't know if they ever. I mean, they're kind of. I don't know if they ever would be able to get over that, to be honest. And that was my opinion on that.
Yeah,
So
I agree, man. So the thing about Stanford and Cal is they're all about the academics. Obviously, they're great academic schools, some of the best in the world, right? But sports wise, the Big 12, I agree 100%. It is more focused on football, and that's what I care about. I'm sure everyone loves the Nobel Prize winners at Stanford, but that doesn't fill a stadium on Saturday, as was proven, right? And so, passion wise, the Big 12 is much better than the Pac 12. I am going to miss Oregon, Washington, USC games. Those were fun. I am going to miss driving to Vegas for the title game. That was fun. But you know what? I'm not going to miss the big announcement that, hey, we just got a freaking seafood partner. And hey, we've got non-binary NFTs. Forget that, man. We're about football. That's what I'm about. And that's what we're about. And so that works. The only downside to the
Jake,
Big 12, other than it being, the major one, which is not a Power 2 conference, the other only downside is you have to share the conference with those idiots down south. And that part sucks. But we'll just continue to own them on the field. 90% of the time we'll win, and just like it's been the last decade and a half. And so I guess it's our cross we have to bear, right?
But in the end, if we're not going to be part of like who knows, like 10 years down the line, yeah, we might get you never know, we might get an invite to the Big Ten. But if we're not going to be like in one of those conferences, I I don't mind being like in a conference like the Big 12 where we have some good rivalries with like the Arizona schools. We have BYU, we can play every year. We have Colorado, and the travel the travel we're facing is a lot better than like what Washington's facing. Like it's
Yeah.
when you look at the Big 12 map, it is very like other than those three way out on the east side, like it is pretty. I don't think the travel is going to be that much different than it was in the Pac-12 as far as like a plane flight. Yeah, we're not going to be able to drive to Vegas, which is probably the biggest bummer in all of this is losing that. But
Yeah, that
we
will
haven't
be. I
talked about.
mean, we've developed a reputation among the nation of being a powerhouse fan base, and that's largely in part because we pack the title games and we pack the Rose Bowl. We're not getting the
We can
same
drive
amount of
there.
people down in Dallas for a Big 12 title game. So our image will take a little bit of a hit that way, but we're still a good fan base. I'm not worried about it.
I'm glad you guys are injecting some optimism because I'm still on the team depressed. So I appreciate this pep talk.
We haven't even gotten to I haven't even talked about the basketball side of it. Like
Well, I
there's
know that's
there's
scares me.
fans that are there's fans that are like they're like we might as well shut down the basketball program. It's gonna be like the end. Like we're gonna get eaten alive in the Big 12. And I actually think it can be like it could be
Let's
like
go.
a shot of adrenaline into the
Bring back
program.
back the 90s.
Like like I've I think it could get fans back engaged. Seeing there's gonna be so many good teams coming in the Huntsman Center like every
Yeah.
night. Like and I think it'll get fans way more excited again about it. And yeah,
Agreed.
of course it's like it's an uphill battle, but like I think the basketball is gonna be awesome. I'm super stoked about it. So
And
I
here's
can't
the
wait.
fact, fellas. We are historically a basketball university.
That's right. I mean,
And it's
we grew
not
up
just
basketball
like the
fans.
Majerus years. It was
Yeah.
prior to the Majerus years. There's 7 teams in the history of the NCAA basketball that have been to a Sweet 16 every decade, and we're
Yeah.
one of them, along with
Yeah.
the Blue Bloods. We can get back there. We just need to remember who we are. We are the freaking University of Utah. All right, we are not some has-been. Well, we are right now, I guess, but we're not some former glory program. We can get back there. We've got the resources. We've got the facilities. We just need to remember. Maybe, like Jo said, getting in this league will shock us into remembering who we are. So
Totally. Yeah. No, we were
Well,
Gonzaga
look-
before Gonzaga, like in the West. We were the premier Western program.
yep.
I just hope they
That's
market
right. I look,
I just hope they market the
To
heck out of
Jeremy's-
it to sell season tickets and stuff and get that place rocking again. Because like I said, it's going to be a bunch of good teams coming in, so there's no reason why people shouldn't be going out and watching it.
Yep.
yeah.
Brendan,
Well, look,
so-
like Peter and I have been season ticket holders up there for, I don't know, 15, 7, or like 18 years.
At least.
And even in the last 5 years when the program's been down, if Arizona came to town, the Huntsman Center was pretty full.
Yeah.
When BYU came to town, the Huntsman Center was full. So I think you're right, Jeremy. I mean,
That's a good point.
bringing in these big teams,
And they probably won't
we
play
should pack that.
Sunday games
And
anymore.
we'll be playing BYU twice a year again, so we'll
Yeah.
get that game every year at home. Like it's
Yeah.
I think it'll be a lot of good coming from the move to the Big 12. With
Yep.
like yeah, it's gonna be more difficult, but
Utah and BYU basketball battle for 15 and 16th place the first in the Big 12. All right, one last Big 12 question before we move on to the quarterback situation that we found out more about this week. Jeremy, of all the Big 12 towns that we've mentioned, is there a particular stadium you want to go to the most?
Man, this is gonna sound silly, but I gotta say West Virginia, man.
Oh, yeah?
Like
Country
the
roads
opposite
take
of,
you home, huh?
Mountaineers.
the opposite of what Arizona State president is saying. I don't know. It's just like seeing country roads sounds like a good time. Like I enjoyed seeing in the Florida game at the end of the third quarter last year. I would like to go to seeing Rocky Top, Tennessee one day.
Yep.
I have these weird bucket list items.
We're
Those
going to
off the top
actually
of my
get to
head.
that topic at the end of this podcast about stadium traditions. So we'll put
Okay.
that in our back pocket for
Yeah,
now.
so I'd say West Virginia, and then probably I wouldn't mind going to like one of the Kansas schools so I can stop by Kansas City and get some good barbecue.
Yep. When you do JO, I'm a former Kansas City resident, so I've got the list 1 to 10 of the best places to go to and the ones that are off the beaten path that people don't know about. So you let me know when that happens. Okay. So we found out this week from Kyle Whittingham that if the game started today, unless Cam Rising is cleared, which he hasn't been yet, our starter is going to be none other than the pig farmer, the pride of Milford, Utah, and Delta High School, Bryson Barnes. Jeremy, when you first heard that news, what was your first reaction?
Oh man, gutted.
It looks like you threw up a little bit in your mouth right there when I said that.
Yeah. Keep it real.
I was hopeful that like Nate Johnson would like win the job, like and be that guy. Like I'm not win job over Cam Rising, of course. Like Cam's a guy like in the 15 years like since I've signed to Utah 2008. Like he's like my favorite football player we've ever had. Like he's a dog. But I was hoping Nate Johnson just because like the potential of Nate Johnson, like what he can do, like having a dual threat QB in college is like a game changer because like it makes college teams have so much difficult time defending that. And if I was just so hopeful that he would be able to be that guy, and I even right now I still hope that like if Bryson Barnes trots out there, it's like a dual QB system. What we're trying to do until Cam gets healthy, where we have like Bryson Barnes is in there for like half the time, and Nate Johnson is in there for half the time. Just because just to keep the team like just keep Florida on their heels. I just feel like you gotta just be. I feel like he's too electric to keep off the field, but like I think in the end, like Bryson Barnes just seems like the typical like conservative pick, where like yeah he probably has a higher floor than Nate Johnson, but he also has a lower ceiling. But I feel like Nate Johnson he just seems like a guy that could rip off a big play.
Yep. Here's my thoughts on it. Like we know what we get with Bryson Barnes, and what we get with Bryson Barnes isn't great. I mean, he had that flash in the pan moment in the Rose Bowl the first time where he threw that pass to Dalton Kincaid. But ever since then, he's looked mediocre. He started against Washington State last year, and granted, we won that game, but it was an old-fashioned slugfest where we couldn't move the freaking ball, right? And the fact is, we're opening with Florida and Baylor. I think personally, Bryson Barnes is too conservative of a pick and doesn't give us a chance to really win those games. Maybe we will because of our defense and running game. But like you said, I think he has a higher floor, but I don't care about the floor. I care about the ceiling. I think Nate Johnson, like you mentioned, as a dual threat quarterback, not only is he a dual threat quarterback, but the dude is world-class sprinter speed dual threat. Yeah, it's not just a regular dual threat. There's a dude who wins 100-meter sprints in track and field. Like he's spectacularly fast. What he brings to the table is a skill set that nobody else on our team does in that position. Including Cam. Cam's a good runner, but he's not blazing speed, right? So if there's no Cam and Brandon Rose is inexplicably hurt, you got, in my opinion, roll the dice with Nate Johnson because we know what we get with Bryson Barnes, and we're shooting for playoffs this year. We're not shooting for just another 9-3 season. We can get to 9-3 starting Bryson Barnes. I don't want that. I want something bigger, and I agree. Let's roll the dice with Nate Johnson. At least, like you said, if we don't start Nate, have a heavy Nate Johnson package. Like if they could go 50-50, that would be great. But I'd be even fine with like 60-40, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like we could zone read the heck out of those guys. I mean, we saw we basically give them a taste of their own medicine. Like I think I rewatched the Florida game from last year. Anthony Richardson only threw the ball like he threw the ball like less than 20 times. He barely threw the ball, but the fact his presence and the danger of our defense knowing at any moment he can just like take off and run, it keeps defense on their heels, and I feel it creates. I feel like it just creates more gaps in defense. More guys can get open, even if he might not have the accuracy that Bryson Barnes has. I just feel like having a guy back there like that just gets people open because the defense is always second guessing stuff.
He does.
Guys,
you know what?
guys.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Yes, we're not insiders, but we know insiders. And here's the deal. This is all cloak and dagger. Cam's starting. I'm calling my shot right now. I'm calling it, Jake.
I hope
Cam
so.
rising, CCR, cue it up.
Yep, I talked about it last couple podcasts ago. My dream is to cast our eyes over the sidelines and boom over the PA, bum bum ba bum.
I almost
and number
brought my
7
guitar.
comes
I might
sprinting
do
on the
that
field.
next
I will
episode.
cry. I honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I may cry if that happens. Like I may cry because
It's
I want
happening.
it so bad.
Just plan on it. You better be
You
there.
think you think they're gonna privy the PA announcer to that information though?
I don't know.
He better be
He
ready.
stands by like ready with the button.
They didn't tell Fox or whatever who was starting, and they were all
Oh, they better
Papadakis
be
was all mad
ready.
at that.
I remember that one. Yeah. No, they better be ready with that CD track.
You gotta
number
have
3.
it. Yeah, you've got to have it on the go. Okay, so you talked a little bit, Jo, about Bryson Barnes' accuracy as a plus. I mean, I know you were saying, but I don't even think he's that accurate, man. He didn't look good in especially the second Rose Bowl. He just didn't look good. I'm not a fan of this move.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Witt loves the known quantity. You know, he loves taking, not taking risks, but he likes guys that aren't as risky, and so that's what's frustrating. I hope, like Pete, you said, I hope it's cloak and dagger.
Hey, listen, I'm not an insider, but I know insiders. I'm just telling you, I might know something here. I'm calling my shot.
Okay. Well, I will fall down at your feet and thank you, Pete.
31 flavors that they said at 31 flavors that he's
and I'm not saying Bryson's the most accurate. I'm just saying like if they're like putting him above Nate on the depth chart, it has to be because of that, because we know he's not the athlete. And I guess it might just be he knows the playbook, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last thought on the quarterback situation.
Gotta hope that after all this time, we have something better than what we saw last year in Bryson Barnes. Now, maybe Bryson Barnes has improved a ton from the Rose Bowl, but you got to hope that our QB development program is better than just giving us last year's Bryson Barnes as the starter.
You would hope. Okay, Jeremy. So last thought on this. If Bryson Barnes starts the first 3 games, which a lot of people are saying that's what's going to happen, at home against Florida, on the road at Baylor, and then Weber State, what do you think the realistic record is after those 3 games?
Man, I'd say 2-1 is like the hope, right? Like we got to get one of those games. Like I have a hard time believing we can go 2-0 over that stretch with Bryson Barnes. Understand that, and if we did, it'd be crazy. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
we gotta split
like
that Florida game and Baylor game. We've got to, if he's starting, we got to find a way to come out 2-1. We cannot. In my opinion, what happens if it's Barnes? I think Barnes plays until he loses. Like if Barnes starts Florida and we lose Florida, then I bet Cam is ready for Baylor. But if Barnes beats Florida, he'll start against Baylor, and then if he loses to Baylor, then I think they bring in Cam for Weber State just to tune him up, or until UCLA. So Barnes will start until he loses or until conference play starts. That's my opinion.
The thing is, I feel like if Cam is ready, he's ready though. Like even if Barnes loses, like if anything, they just go to like Nate Johnson. Like in the end, if Cam is ready, he's ready, and they're gonna put him in there.
What I worry about is he'll never be technically quote unquote ready to his full. They'll be like, okay, do we just put an 80% Cam out for Baylor now, or do we just, I don't know. It's a crappy situation.
Here's the scenario. Okay, he's let's say he's 80%. I don't know Whittingham's saying he needs to be 100%. How our offensive line, you were saying, Jake, a couple of weeks ago, how good they are. Like, why don't they do? Someone put the point of this out on Twitter, so this is not my idea. But why don't they just do what Bo Nix did to us against Oregon? Just pick and pop.
I would hope so, but it doesn't sound like that's Witt's game plan or strategy under this current situation.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So brought up earlier, as we're winding out of time here, we like to keep this baby under 30 minutes so people can pop it in their car and on the way to work and get it done. Stadium rituals, stadium traditions. Utah kind of has of a dearth in that area. We've tried things. You guys remember when we brought in Storm the Hawk and we trained the damn hawk for weeks at a time to fly around. And then the first time they let him go at the spring game, the dude hightails it out of the stadium. He's never seen again. You guys remember that?
That was so awesome. One of my greatest memories in the stadium.
Yeah, they brought him out game after game. Here's the new Hawk. We're going to train him. He's going to be amazing. You guys are going to love him. We're not letting him fly yet. The spring game comes like, go Hawk, and he takes off and he books it and he's gone. And that
Found a mouse in West Valley.
That was great. We've also had the bounce house.
I've forgotten that.
Tunnel we ran out of. We had Crazy Lady for a while. None of these have taken off. I actually liked the drum thing that we had there for a couple of years. The problem is no one could clap in unison and it sounded idiotic. But the drum thing was cool. Right now, the only thing that's uniquely Utah, and it is awesome, I think, is the moment of loudness. Because you get there, they show the video of the players.
Yep.
The crowd goes nuts. And then when it shows the people at the end who have passed away, and it says family on 3, I always get a little emotional because I have thoughts of one day my sons will see me up on that scoreboard. So the question I have is, what are some of your favorite stadium traditions around the country or rituals? Jeremy, you mentioned one earlier. What are a couple that you like?
Yeah. I think Rocky Top is freaking sweet. I love Rocky Top, and even though I'm not a Tennessee fan, like if I was picking an SEC team, it'd be Georgia, since that's where I'm from. But Rocky Top. I love the Texas A&M. They do the Saw Varsity's horns off, and they all like put their arms on each other's shoulders, the entire stadium.
Yeah.
And they make that sawing motion. Michigan has like I'm a sucker for like songs, as you can see. Michigan, they sing Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I wish
That should
we
be
had
our
a song.
song. That should be our song.
I wish we had a song that we could just belt out like every game, because
Agreed. Songs are cool.
It's too bad we don't have like a Post Malone song, since he lives here and like Utah. But
I love Rocky Top, man. Just the Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. That good old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. That'd be cool. What I really liked is it would be a lot better if there were more fans in the stands. But I love when USC does their Trojan March. And they're all marching with their marching band. If they had more fans in the stands, it'd be a cool tradition. Brandon, Pete, anything you can think of?
Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I was gonna say I went to Camp Randall to watch Wisconsin game, and jump around in the third quarter is just unreal if you're there. Yeah, that's another one, Jeremy. You'd like that one. That was fantastic.
I think I've been to 10 Pac-12 away games, and I know 9. I'm missing Colorado and Cal. Anyway, the best one, the sneakiest one, the one that you wouldn't think was Wazoo. I think that was my favorite away game.
Why is that?
They played Andy Grammer back home, and they just sang that. You probably don't know that song, but you would know it when you heard it. I think it was like a game day kind of song, but that was the best one I've seen. I thought Shout was overrated at Oregon. I thought the Arizona in Tucson, that what do they play, like that windmill or something every time Kadeem Carey scored a touchdown? That was obnoxious. ASU, nothing memorable. Rose Bowl empty. UCLA, yeah. So I thought Wazoo was actually the best away game.
Yeah, I've got a bucket list of places I want to go. I've been to Michigan. I've been to Ohio State when I was served my mission there. Went on a P-Day. It was incredible, like amazing. Been to Notre Dame. What's that?
Good opportunity to find.
And you know what? My favorite one, actually, even though we came out with the loss, was Florida. Like, it was insanely loud. Like, you can't even describe it. It was 80,000 north end zoners, basically, the whole game. And they had a ton of like little traditions they did. Their Tom Petty song, their Mr. 8-Bit, whatever it is. They had a lot of chants, and it was a cool experience. I think if we can keep this moment of loudness for the rest of forever, because you can tie it to family members that passed away, I think it's pretty awesome. So
no, yeah, the moment of loudness. The thing about it is these things have to be organic. Like the Crazy Lady was not organic. She was self-appointed because of Bubbles, the tradition, the lady that had been doing it for 50 years at the U. And the problem with that was, like, remember there was like a distraction at the Notre Dame game or something, like they played the Bubbles
she did it over like one of their traditions.
And it was like, so the school was like, oh, we can't have this lady representing us. So then but the moment allowed, I think we finally, after many, many years of searching, found a tradition that's going to last. It's rooted in something authentic and genuine. Yep. And so, and the opposing teams you can't be like an a-hole and like do some, whatever you're going to do to distract that. Like everyone has to watch.
Yep. Agreed. The only ones that'll screw it up, BYU fans will screw it up. They're already a-holes though. We already know that. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Let's end back to football. Last two thoughts. Jeremy, who's your offensive breakout player of the year that you think will have a big year this year? It could be someone that had a big year last year, but who would be the best offensive player and the best defensive player this year?
I think Jaquan Jackson is going to step up big. I mean, that's an easy choice, but I think having a full off season, being like getting actual running back training, and learning that position, and based on how good he was at the end of the year last year, I think he'll have a huge year. On the defensive side, there's so many guys I've heard like that are doing like really well. This from like camp reports or whatever, but I think this might be another like easy option. But like I think Lander is going to have a big year, having even watching that Florida game, like we watched like last week, and the difference between him and that point and like at the end of the year, and now he has another off season. I think he'll have a huge sophomore year. Yep. So I'd say I'll say those two.
Yeah, both those guys are awesome choices. Jaquin in the last 4 or 5 games was awesome against Colorado, against USC in the title game in the Rose Bowl. He looked awesome. He played the part. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's tough. He's going to be awesome with an offseason full of training. And Lander is going to take that step. He's going to be our next superstar on defense. So those are two awesome choices. Any last minute thoughts, Brendan, Pete, before we go?
Go Utes.
Go Utes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, J.O., for joining us. We appreciate you joining Salt Lake Jake's Take. And I am off. I'm out. Sorry, I'm out. I don't know what I messed up there. That is a jumbo mistake. I am out. He's on the game with the nickname. I am out.
Salt Lake Jake. Salt Lake Jake.
Salt Lake Jake.